I had this dog. We had this dog, my ex-wife and I. Um, his name was Buddy. He was the most even-tempered dog you could possibly imagine, which is why his name was Buddy. White Shepherd Lab mix, full size but not Great Dane sized dog. And we just moved to Palmyra, so my wife wasn't really able to bring herself to let the dog off the leash. And a big dog needs to run, so my job was every morning to go out and take the dog for a walk. So I'd get up before everybody else did, and I'd rain or shine, take the dog for a walk down the cornfield, at the end of our street, walk about 50 yards into it, and just let him off his leash. And he was just gorgeous. He'd take off with all that musculature, running down this trail. And I'd see him, on the hillside, about a quarter of a mile away, just running along the side of the hill, just going, this is just gorgeous. And then I'd pick out a couple of dog treats from my pocket and rub them together. And I don't know if it was the sound or the smell or the timing was just right, but he always came back, put him on the leash, went home. If it was rainy, I'd towel him off. Then I'd get ready for work. Leaving for work in that household was a relief after being with my wife. One of the situations where it's more tense with her than just with the kids. So it was not a happy time. Our marriage was on its last legs. So we'd been in marital therapy for like 5 years and had reached the point a few times when it was, it doesn't get any better than this, and that's okay. But the thought of a vacation, a family vacation, just did not sound like a fun thing at all. So we all agreed that I could take a solo family vacation. I'd take a solo vacation. I went out and, visited some friends, talked things through and so forth. And I think my then wife was surprised when I came back and I said, no, this isn't good enough. And I think it's going to end. Coming home was not really coming home. I ended up sleeping on the couch for a week or two, bought a futon that I moved into my study that I ended up sleeping on for like 6 years. And that was my life. We tried to live separately with an in-house separation for about 6 weeks. And it was worse and worse for the kids. I remember going down to dinner and cooking, some spaghetti and bringing it out, and, everyone's plate is there. And my now ex-wife says, I don't want you eating at my table. The kids were shocked. I take my spaghetti, I'm out in the garage. My daughter eventually comes and asks me if I'm okay. And it's like, yeah, I'm okay. But, this was just not a good time. My wife she'd call me at school. I was a college professor, and she'd call me at school. This is before cell phones, and not be able to reach me. And I'd come home and she'd say, where were you? And I'm like, I don't know, at the library, talking to a colleague in the hallway, meeting with a student, coming out late from class, I don't know. And she just blew up. She freaked out. So much that she's screaming at me in my face, saliva flying out of her mouth. You're out of control. You're out of control. Now, I'm like taking the kids to McDonald's, and in the car, they're like, why was mommy saying that? And to explain to a 9-year-old and a 5-year-old what projection is about was just a little weird. Then there was the time I came back from taking the kids to a faculty party. My wife didn't want to go. She was going to stay home and watch TV. And so I go to this party with the kids. We play on the swings. I'm hanging out with the other faculty who are moms with their kids. And then we come home, and she's like just stone pissed off. And I really don't know why. And she just avoids me. And we get the kids to bed. And then later, she's like, again, where were you? Where were you? And I'm like, I was with the kids at a swing set at this party. And she's getting angrier and angrier. And she's like growling at me, practically snarling, and says, finally, I wish you were dead. And by the time she's doing that, the dog, poor Buddy, is freaking out. He's like biting her ankles to stop her from attacking me. So it had gotten pretty bad. The final straw was when I come back from taking the kids swimming one afternoon in our, in-house separation, and we had a good time. But we come home, and I go up to my study where, I was now staying, and my journal is laying open on my desk. The journal I've been writing since my daughter was born, that the last 5, 6 months I've been writing in like 10 pages a day, and she's opened it. She's reading my most private, my most personal possession. Not that it matters what she read, not that she got any questions answered that she wanted answers, not that she found evidence of anything. I mean, if I had an alternate life, it was only because I was writing a grant. She'd apparently watched some show on TV about some guy with a double life and thought that that was me. It was just, so sad. Reading my journal though, I felt raped. I felt eviscerated. I felt more violated than I ever have before or since. So I go downstairs, I put the leash on Buddy, at least he's going to come with me, and we take a walk a few miles from Palmyra, where we live, down to Annville. And there's this beautiful, huge field there, a field that I later fall in love with because it grew wheat. It was golden in the summer. But there was like hundreds of geese. It was dusk, so it was kind of dark out. Buddy's like straining at the leash, so I let him off the leash, and he takes off like at a sprint and runs through the middle of these hundreds of geese. It's like a comb parting hair, and two flocks of geese are flying off in opposite directions. I mean, the sense of wideness, of space, of openness, and of Buddy just taking off just freed me. It just freed me. The dog freed me. So 2 weeks later, I was the one doing the running. Found a railroad apartment in Annville, close enough to my kids, and it was over.